idea is that you tell us about, you have a set of questionnaires, 3 questionnaires, one about your past, one about your future, and one about your present. And the idea was to break the ice, talking about all those questions you had there. So, oh, my computer started. Sorry about that.
That's a nice sound.
So it will be your turn to speak. So we will need you to turn off your microphones. And let's start with the first part. The first questionnaire about your past. We want you to think, as this is the last course you're going to take on phonetics and phonology before you graduate and start working. We want you to think a little bit about all the things you've done, all the way you've been through, and all the things you've learned, all the things you liked and all the things you hated, right? So we wanted to think about diction, phonetics and phonology 1, phonetics and phonology 2, and the last one, phonetics and phonology 3. And try to identify one aspect of pronunciation which you remember to have learned while taking each of these courses. Something that is memorable, that you say, okay, I remember that from diction, or I remember that from phonology 1. Who would like to say something about this? Are you there?
I can.
Okay. Hello, Hime.
Hi. Well, what I most remember from diction was rhythm. Was
Rhythm.
it when you had to draw the circles?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's it. That's the only thing I
Okay,
remember.
good. I think it's the first thing we see in diction, rhythm. I think the first class is on rhythm. So
Okay.
good that you remember that. It's like what was like the first impression. the Jack and the computer, I remember. Jack and the computer and the rhythm of the
Yes.
language.
Okay.
Hello, what's your name? My name is Jack. we still use that. What about the rest? Any memories about diction?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah?
Yeah, well, I remember mostly the same. I wrote these questionnaires, some answers, and I wrote that there were strong and weak syllables, and that there were circles, and we saw the difference between Spanish and English, and I remember that Spanish got a lot of big circles.
Uh-huh. So rhythm, good. Anyone else has something to say about rhythm? Sorry, not about rhythm, about diction. Come on, we're a lot. You don't remember anything about that?
Hello, how are you? I remember the vowel, the I don't know how to explain it. The picture of the tongue and the correct position of the vowels in Spanish and in English.
Spanish vowels and so the vowel diagram is what you remember.
That one, yes, that one.
The vowel diagram, good. I remember when I was studying, I think I never had any, I learned what it represented once I graduated, I think. I could draw it, I could place all the vowels in the chart perfectly all right, but I didn't know it was a sort of picture or diagram of the tongue. Very strange, but I have to confess that. Anyone else? Sorry, but I'm...
Yeah, then we've got Rocio, who says that she
She's
remembers,
writing something.
yes, that she remembers diphthongs and they were hard to learn and pronounce. And she says, sorry, she's just waken up. That's why she's not speaking herself.
Yeah, right now I'm reading it. Okay, let's... Oh, I have to come back to the meeting. Oh, that's because I wanted to open the chat and I open WhatsApp. I'm not used to. Oh no,
That's another chat.
Yeah. Right. What about Phonology 1? Anyone has any memories about Phonology 1?
The one that I liked, phonological processes.
Okay. Good. Phonological processes.
Morning. I will try to say many words together, but I have just woken up, sorry. I fell asleep very hard. I remember phonetics and phonology 1 was the subject I enjoyed the most because we spent many lessons with each of the sounds, which were mainly new for me. And as I said, diphthongs were very difficult for me, especially the ones with schwa. For example, O, I used to pronounce it very, very Argentinian, like oh. So it was very difficult. And I also, like Hime, I also enjoyed learning phonological processes and especially coalescence, which is my favorite, my all-time favorite. I like it a lot. So I remember learning that one. And I remember also Leopoldo.
What is it that you remember about him?
I was in his team, in his group, and I really enjoyed lessons with him because he's so cute. So that was my favorite part of the subject. Apart from the content, I mean, I had to be, you know.
Right. Anyone else has something to say about Phonology 1? Or you agree with your classmates, or maybe it's the same topic you remember to have learned during this course, Phonology 1?
Morning.
Morning.
I also remember the phonological processes as Hime, and I enjoyed them a lot. I really liked that topic, and I also remember all the conversations we had to prepare and record ourselves. And I remember them because I hate them a lot.
Okay, you hated them. The dialogues from Chip or Sheep, right? This is the moment to be honest, right? We're just having this is the conversation to break the ice. If you didn't like something, if you don't like something about phonetics and phonology, just say so. You're free to say it.
I remember that one recording that started like, Poppy, I lost
Why
my
don't you help?
passport.
I can't find my passport.
I remember that one very clearly.
I can't find my passport.
Why don't you help?
How stupid of you, Peter. Why don't you put them in your pocket? Yeah, of course, I know them by heart, right? And I have to confess, I also hate them. After all these years, I don't like them. They're nice dialogues to practice the sounds, but you know, I can say all of them by heart by now.
They're very unnatural.
they're very
And some of them are very old-fashioned.
old-fashioned, and because they want to put all these words together with the same sound, the conversation is like unreal.
Right, exactly.
Nonsense.
Nonsense conversations.
They were cool. They helped me to learn, so I'm not mad at
Yes,
them.
of course. They serve the purpose
Yes.
of for you to practice saying all these sounds in context, although the context is not very real, but it's okay. Now let's move on to a different subject because we have many things to cover. What about phonology 2? What do you remember about phonology 2? So different theme this time.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Well, I remember the first topic we dealt with was this program to see how sound waves look like. And I
Right.
hate it.
Acoustic phonetics. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes, I didn't like it. And I was really worried because I thought we were going to see the same topic throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
So, but luckily no, it was like some weeks only.
It was just for you to know what it is about. It's really useful. We work with these sound waves and pitch tracks, and that in the research project, right, Lucia?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we use those programs a lot, but nothing can replace the human ear and mind. There's no software that can replace that.
Yeah, sometimes the software will give you like a result and we would overrule that result and we would say, no, that's not what's going on here. We listen to something else.
No.
And so it's always the human ear, the one that has the final say.
Right. Okay, so you hated that. Anything that you liked about phonology 2? Somebody else?
Yeah, I remember we saw clusters. Yes, and I was really
Spanish
interested.
learners.
Yes, so I understood why we said school and sprite and all those words. That was interesting. Then we saw accent variety too, and I really enjoyed that topic.
That's a nice topic, accent variety.
I think when I think of phonetics too, I think of a very theoretical subject, which was very hard. And I like Alejandra, but her lessons were very boring and I don't know, they lacked something for me. And then I remember we saw the structure of the syllables, which...
Oh, I hate that. Okay.
Me too, and I understood at that moment, and now I understand also why chopping syllables is so difficult in English and so different from Spanish. So I remember learning that and saying, wow, I will never be able to separate syllables myself. I remember that it's a tough topic.
It is. Right, the point with phonology 2 is that all of a sudden you start working a lot with theory. And you get these hard topics like syllable structure or acoustic phonetics. And so it comes as a sort of shock for some students at one point.
And I
And what
also
about
Isra? Isra is so cool. I mean, I miss him a lot. You need to bring him in the other phonetics. We miss him.
He works in phonology 1 as well.
But
you were with Leopoldo.
Yes, I was with Leopoldo. He's like my dreamed grandfather. My grandfather lives in Buenos Aires. So imagine every lesson I had with Leopoldo was like seeing my grandfather. I like him a lot.
Right. Isabel. Ah, okay, you didn't take that course. You didn't?
Hi.
And then you changed your course of studies, and because you took Phonology 3.
Yes, I only took Elementos de Fonética and Phonetics and Phonology 1. And then I got the equivalencia, so I started Phonetics and Phonology 3, and that was my story with phonology.
Okay.
It's the same story, but
Right.
divided in different chapters.
Right, chunked in a different way.
Right, because phonology, your Phonology 1 would be the Phonology 2 your classmates are speaking about right now.
Mm-hmm. And now that you've mentioned, or we've mentioned Phonology 3, what about Phonology 3? What have you learned during this course? What do you remember? Let's see.
I think we
Your
all
teachers are
agree
here.
on tones.
Tones. Were they hard to learn?
The importance of intonation.
Right. What about heads?
Sorry, I always talk in the classroom. This is not going to be different, so get over it. No.
Okay, it's your opportunity. The idea was for you to speak, so come on. For all of you, right?
What I remember the most of Phonetics 3 is wanting to drop out Phonetics 3 because it was so hard for me.
I remember.
Yes, and I couldn't like learn all the tones because they were very different, and I am not accustomed to paying attention to intonation and the way I speak. I always try to get the sounds across. I mean, I try to speak with the British sounds, but when it comes to intonation, that is something that I don't pay enough attention, apparently. So I remember that I had a very hard time last year trying to learn those. First of all, recognize them, because for me they were all the same, and I learned them. By the end of the year, I was okay with them. I passed the subject, I was happy, and I am here today. So all thanks of you and me, of course.
Okay, let's pass on to the following exercise, which says quick survey. Which, according to your personal experience, is the most difficult English vowel?
I would say that long vowels,
Long vowels.
because we have this tendency to make them shorter. So it is still difficult for me to say. I mean, I know that in a certain word I have to pronounce, let's say, coat, but all the same I pronounce it coat. So I have to really pay attention to that part.
Oh, okay, good point. You'll see in a couple of weeks the importance of long vowels.
I also agree with Isabel, and I will add that long schwa for me is a nightmare. Try to pronounce yes, especially since the beginning. I've always had this thing with British English that I think I can't pronounce it, so I rely on American English. So trying not to pronounce the r sound for me is very difficult. And all those sounds, the long vowels, as Isa said, are difficult for me, mainly long schwa. I don't know, I remember last year I took the final exam for Lengua 3. And so I was pronouncing the name Shirley in the American way. I remember Maggie told me like lots of time, no, it's with the long schwa. I couldn't pronounce it, so that's something that is going to stick with me through eternity.
Okay, you're mentioning good things. Now, the easiest English vowel.
For me, it is short E. No, long E. And
Oh,
short
yeah,
E
short,
was for me the most difficult one.
the most
Because I
difficult
tend
one.
to say E instead of short E.
Or to use a Spanish E, which is
Yes.
none of them, right?
Yes.
What about consonants? The hardest consonant?
For me, plosives.
Plosives. Yeah, and the use of aspiration. Not just aspiration, right? It's not p, t, k. It's also b, d, g, and no, not to make them fricative. It's a plosive sound, what you have to use there for in the 6 of them, right? B, d, g.
In my case, it wasn't that difficult, but I remembered I paid special attention and effort to pronouncing the V sound, the fricative V, because in Spanish we don't have it. So I remember the first few years studying English, I was pronounced it with the B, with our Spanish B version, right? And also one of the hardest consonants for me was the other fricative, the one in usually, the j sound,
The j
also
sound.
because we don't have it in Spanish. So yes, so all the words with j were very difficult for me at the beginning. Now I get them.
What about the clearest or the easiest English consonant?
I thought of sa.
Okay.
Because for me the most difficult one was za. And I
Za.
still have, yeah.
So sa, we have that sound in Spanish, so it's easy. The same as with the nasals ma and na. Not nga, right? Good. What about tones? Were all of them difficult? Do you have a favorite one? Can you hear my dog barking?
Yes, my problem with tones were the rising tones. I remember that dialogue about Moana, which was the rising part that I practiced with you several times, that it was really hard for me to do it. And the fall rise, of course.
And the fall rise, okay. Rising tones and fall rising tones, falling rising tones.
I thought of them, I thought of the answers yesterday, and I thought of that, Flor, also. All the rising tones were very difficult. Yeah, especially high rising, because I mean, you had to pay attention to what you are saying and also the way you are saying. So it's very difficult. So yeah, I would say the rising tones.
And heads, any head that you hated? That would be the climbing head. Do you remember the names of the different heads? Because was you were moving your finger. So
It's because I don't want to talk all the time.
waves.
My fellow students are going to hate me another year again. So no, but I remember the stepping head was not that difficult, but I mean it was a little. We had the volume, the stepping, climbing, the high rising. What else?
Right. stepping, climbing, the complex ones you're mentioning. Stepping, climbing, and sliding. Those are the complex heads. Now, but then we are talking about heads. You've worked with two different approaches to intonation during Phonetics and Phonology 3. Brazil's approach to intonation and O'Connor and Arnold's. Which is your favorite? Maybe you don't have any favorites, but one that you like better than the other.
O'Connor's, I think, because it was the first one. So it took me a lot of time to learn it, and then Brazil appeared and I didn't understood so well.
All right. We usually don't have much time to work on Brazil, that's right. We used to do that at the other way about some years ago. We started working with Brazil and then with O'Connor and Arnold. But it was really hard for students to start working with tones and heads towards September. Imagine, you start working with all these details towards the end of the year. So we decided to spend more time on O'Connor and Arnold and discuss Brazil towards the end.
I would like Sol. I would also choose O'Connor and Arnold, because I think the way they explain the theory is easy reading for us. It's not that difficult, and also because of the graphics they use to explain the theory, or maybe that's
okay.
Right?
The interlinear graphs, you mean?
Yes, the interlinear graphs, and also, I mean, the arrows. They were very easy to understand, to learn, and as opposed to Brazil, he doesn't have he has the arrows, but the way he places the arrows and all the diacritics is very difficult and very different from what we are accustomed to. So I would O'Connor and Arnold also.
Right. I think, Lou, you can tell me better that the meeting is about to end, right?
We've got 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes. Maybe we can
reconnect now.
Reconnect, right. And when we come back, you tell me 2 activities that you liked doing in class and 2 that you hated. Right? But I want to listen to all of you. Right? So let's reconnect so that we don't get interrupted in the middle of the discussion, right?
Okay, so see you in a minute.
On any that you liked a lot and you remember.
I liked it last year when we had those interviews with dialogues from Toy Story. They were really fun, despite the fact that we were nervous, of course. It was really nice because we had like a chance to act and to receive specific feedback.
Right.
And I also enjoyed recording ourselves because of the same reasons, because we got really good feedback, and it was we were recording in a houses, and so nobody was listening to us and putting pressure.
Good. Do you like recording yourself? What about the rest? You don't, Florencia? You don't like listening to your own voices, right?
That's the thing. And when I'm recording, I need to listen to it to see if it is okay, if there's any problem or the different tones and all that. And I hate listening to me in Spanish, in English, in any language.
Yeah, the same thing happens to me. Don't worry. I hate listening to myself.
It's horrible. No, it's horrible. I don't like it.
Now I'm used to it. Not even in Spanish. Now, because of all the voice messages that we use through WhatsApp mainly, It's like I got used to listening to myself in Spanish, in English, of course, because I work a lot with recordings, but I don't like it. Your voice sounds different. It's not nice at all. I think we all share the same feeling. but
Yes.
but it is useful. It is really useful. At least if you learn to do it and listen with critical ears, right? Okay, so one favorite activity, which was reading from Toy Story. Any other one that you liked? This is important information for us because we can repeat those activities that you liked, that you enjoyed, and we can avoid the ones that you, well, we won't avoid recording yourself. We'll ask students to record themselves all the time, but it's important information for teachers, what you have to say now.
I've always loved the way you prepare your lessons because you really spend a lot of time trying to find material that is relatable and also that is updated. So for sure, keep on doing that.
Okay,
I
thank you.
really appreciate it. And I also liked that last year we worked with Toy Story. I mean, one of the favorite movies of all times for everyone. So that was a bold and good choice.
Okay, Lucia, let's remember this.
I do remember, yes. Mental note,
Let's
Toy
try writing
Story.
it down.
We can use Toy Story 4 now.
I don't like that much.
No,
Yeah, I mean,
the classic one, just the classic one.
yeah.
I know. There's nothing like the first one.
Toy
Maybe
Story
The
3,
Incredibles.
I liked.
Valeria, do you like Incredibles? The movie.
Yeah, I like all animation, Disney films,
Yeah.
and enjoy.
Okay. Te salvaste. Very good.
Okay, let's see. So we've been talking a lot about the past. Now, what about the future? What about the future? And you're about to graduate, right? So which group age would you like to work with? Maybe you've been teaching already and you've worked with little kids or with teenagers or with adults. If you have worked and you have decided on that already, or if you haven't, what you think you would like and why. I remember when I graduated, I started working and I worked with kindergarten, primary school, primary school, teenagers, adults. I tried them all and I decided I hated teenagers. I would never work with teenagers. It's not me. I can't stand them, especially those between, I don't know, 12, 15. No. Especially the girls, they scream a lot. No.
I love working with them because I think I'm like them. I can relate to them. I'm also very dumb. Very, I don't know. I love working with teenagers, so I would put that in first place. Then maybe because I have been working, I told you that already, and I worked with almost all ages. Currently, I'm having lessons. I'm giving lessons to adults of around 30 and 40, 20. It's a mix of all ages. So I worked with almost all ages, and I can say that my least favorite is pre-adolescents.
I have one at home.
Because they are Oh, and what can you tell us? What should we expect from them?
Oh, I have one at home and I don't know what to do with him. So,
They are always tired. They don't want to do anything. They don't have the best predisposición. How do you say that? Predisposición.
Predisposition.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
they don't have that.
Or willingness. Willingness to
I
do
was
stuff,
thinking,
maybe. But the word predisposition exists.
Ah, cool. Thank you. So they are like that. They don't want to learn anything new that is outside their comfort zone, their zone of interest. So it's really hard to hook them into the language.
what about the rest? Which do you think would be your favorite group? Or, I don't know.
I have worked with kids mainly, but I would like to work with teenagers because I'm not like that loving. I don't know how to say it. No soy cariñosa, and I don't like them hugging me. It's like weird. So I like teenagers because they are like more independent and not like that.
Okay, you see, so there are teachers for every group, right? I love kids, for example, and I hate teenagers. So fortunately, we're all different.
In my case, I prefer kids. I think that the perfect age are kids from 8 to 10 because they are so enthusiastic. They are so willing to learn and they are so, I don't know how to say it, surprised when you show them something different. They are like, oh, wow, this is amazing. And I love that. That expression and that happiness and that enthusiasm.
That's what I like about them.
I agree, but they are also hard. They're also hard work. I mean, you have to you have to work a lot because you need to make them draw, make them do crafts, make them sing, make them learn through videos and different materials. So they are definitely hard work.
Oh, but I enjoy that a lot. I miss that from school. What about the student's language level? Thinking about your future, would you prefer to work with advanced students, beginners, and why?
I would prefer advanced students because it's more easy for me. Like it's easier, I'm sorry. I think that with beginners, you have to plan more the things that you're going to do.
I think you'll have to plan with all groups, right? But okay.
Yes, but you have like to carefully plan every single thing, like for them to understand you.
Okay. In that sense, you think it's harder to work with beginners. Good. What about the rest?
I think it may be harder to work with beginners because they get frustrated when they don't understand something. But then I like both groups. I think you can do amazing things with both group of students. And yeah, maybe with advanced students, you can have more deeper conversations or more detailed ones. But I like both.
Maybe it's interesting to work with both, with different levels. For your own sake, if you work with beginners all the time, it's like you start losing what you've learned. Maybe, right? But that's my opinion. How important do you think your pronunciation will be at the moment of applying for a job? I hear Lucia may have something to say because she interviews a lot of teachers at school. But what do you think? How important do you think your pronunciation will be at the moment of applying for a job? Very important? Not important at all?
I think I think I think I mean, if you are going to a meeting or your club, it's your time to impress the other person. So if you have a very nice pronunciation, well, girl, use it. Because not
I don't know if it's me or
No,
the
she seems
audio.
to be having some trouble with
Okay, so
her
it's not
own. Yeah.
it's not my computer.
No.
Mm-hmm. And what about your pronunciation in the classroom with your students? Do you think that's important? That will be important?
I think it's very important because you're a model. They are going to learn everything from you. So not only pronunciation, of course, but yeah, it's very important, I think.
And talking about students and that, what about acquiring a native-like pronunciation? Do you think that's something you should aim at or your students should aim at? You think that's the goal?
in my case, I remembered my first 1 and 2 years of studying the course of studies. I was determining myself and trying too hard to sound like a native speaker, which took all natural aspects of speech from my speech. So from that point onwards, I thought to myself, well, you are not going to sound like a native speaker of English because you are not. You are Argentinian, you live in a country where English is not spoken at all. It's not even your second language, or it's a foreign language. So calm down and try to at least, well, my goal is always trying to pronounce the sounds correctly and try to pay attention to intonation. But then I'm not trying to sound like a native speaker anymore because I have come to a realization that I am not a native speaker of English. So although it's important, but I think if you make your best effort to try to sound it like that, perfect, but you are not going to. So it's a bit blunt, but it's the truth.
Okay, we'll talk about students and the goals of your students in a minute or in a couple of minutes. Right. So let's pass on to the following part, which is your present and your expectations for this workshop. What would you like to work on, or what do you think this workshop is going to be about? You just tell me if you think it's going to be about the pronunciation of vowels and consonants.
No.
We've done.
You said something about vowels.
Okay, right. I said that. You're right. I said we were going to see the importance of long vowels, right? But the description of vowels, like you have to put the tip of your tongue over there or over. Do you think we're going to do that? To talk about the articulation of sounds, and you should know about it. But because you know about it, we may make reference to it, right? Intonation. How to teach pronunciation.
That would be great.
Oh, okay. That's the point. Wait a sec. Wait, just a sec. Lou, can you continue with the list?
Yes, of course. So continuing with what Isabel said, that's one of the things that we will do in this course. We're going to see some approaches and what you can do, how to choose, what to choose, and what to prioritize. Okay, so that's more or less the way. What about accent variety? Do you think that we will mention accent variety, or we will work in detail with accent variety? This is just guessing for you, okay? So just feel free to guess.
That's a very interesting topic.
It is.
But we would have time
okay.
to deal with the accents and all that.
Right. So we may mention something about this, but we are not going to work in detail with accent variety, all right? Because that's something that you saw in a previous phonology course.
Back.
You're back?
Back and back.
Okay.
Right, okay, go on.
Okay. Do you think that you will be designing pronunciation activities? Yes, you think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you think you will be evaluating pronunciation activities? Maybe. It's possible
Maybe.
that if you the same thing happens with the didactics courses, right? You design activities, and then sometimes you yourselves have to evaluate that activity and say if it worked or if it didn't work, or if it could work with some other context. So that's these two things I think are kind of connected. Do you think that you will do phonetic dictations and transcriptions again?
No.
We are past that, right? We are beyond. No more, please. What about styles of speech? Do you think that we may see different styles of speech?
Yes, maybe.
Maybe, okay. I have some things in the chat. Let me check if there's anyone. It's very choppy. Okay, so Rocio is apparently having some trouble with her internet connection. Well, this can happen, you know. Elocution, speaking in public. Do you think we will talk about that? Do you think that you?
To do with teaching?
That's what I was going towards that point. That yeah, you're a public speaker when you're a teacher. Basically, you have an audience all the time. Any other aspects that you think we will deal with, or you would like to deal with, or you expect we will deal with? Anything you're worried about?
Many things, probably.
No worries then.
For example, are we going to talk about, I don't know, how is an interview, for example, to apply for a job in English or something like that?
Exactly, but we can do something about that. If you feel you need to talk about it, then we can give you some guidance on that. It's something that we can include.
And there are certainly some of the contents that you will see that may help you, even when we do not mention that directly, that there's information that can help you. Okay, so if this is styles of speech, for example, if I'm thinking about that, there's information there that might be useful. Okay, so I think I will change.
I cannot hear anyone.
No? I think we've lost Vale.
Yes, I think that, yeah.
Yes, she's kind of frozen, right?
Yes.
So she left the meeting. Okay, so let's move on. So you will see here right now some information as regards lessons and the course organization. So the first thing to consider is that we will have lessons from on Fridays from 8 to 10. It is possible that, I mean, the idea is that you are always available at that time. Sometimes we will meet live, and some other times, wait a second, because I have to admit someone.
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what happened.
You're back.
Right, as Lucia was telling you, we are going to meet live sometimes not, maybe not from 8 to 10. Maybe we can have a shorter meeting. And some other times we're going to leave some material for you to work with. It could be a video, some readings you'll have to do, or maybe you have to spend that time working on one of the assignments. Different activities, but the idea is not to meet every single Friday from 8 to 10, because we have all these problems. You see that the
like that, right? Things like that can happen. She's back again. No.
Su conexión a internet es inestable. I got that message. You see, that's why
only the internet connection.
Yeah, the computer was not working in the morning. I had to use my cell phone. It was a bit messy. Fortunately, Lucia had a PowerPoint presentation, because if not, I wouldn't be able to show it to you through my cell phone. You see, because all these things happen, that's why we cannot rely on live sessions. And that's why we are planning to have shorter meetings, videos, other activities for you to do, because it's not the same as being in a classroom, having these Zoom meetings. Something's wrong. My God, now you're all frozen. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it was a bit choppy, but I think we got the gist.
Okay, so we're going to be in contact through or via email, Facebook, Petco a lot, and Zoom from time to time, because it doesn't work properly. And in case you need coaching lessons, again, oh, now I can see Isabel moving, so I think you're listening to me.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Okay, so if you need coaching, remember to get in touch send us an email, and then we can find some time to get together. But let's move on. Let's first go to the following slide. And worksheets, videos, theory material. You will get all that soon. Some of the material is already on Petco. We're going to share things through Facebook as well. But the most important material for this workshop is going to be your own ideas, your creativity. You will have to design things. You will have to find things. You will have to look, search the internet, search your bookshelf for the interesting things and your imagination, right? That would be the most important material. So be ready for that. And I was trying to move the slide and it's you, Lou. As regards the evaluation, probably you're worried about that. Let's see. You will have 2 assignments plus a final project. The first assignment is going to be a video you will have to make. You will have to record a tutorial. You will have to teach us something. What? That's up to you. Something you're good at. If you're very good at cooking, you can show us how to make the best cake. If you're very good at drawing, you can show us how to draw something. Whatever. You can start thinking about that. Something you're good at, and you will have to record a tutorial, a short one, 3 minutes long, 5 minutes long, not more than that. That 5 minutes is a lot, right? We'll see later if you can do it in pairs or individually. We'll discuss that, right? But we'll do that more or less around the middle of September. Then assignment 2, in the previous workshops, we used to have a dramatization. You had to dramatize a lesson in which you are the teachers and the rest of the students were the students. And that was really fun, but we cannot do that now. It's going to be too messy, so we changed that for a different thing. We wanted to prepare, we're going to give you a sort of template to prepare a PowerPoint with a description of the different steps you would follow in order to teach to a group of students some pronunciation point. You will have to describe the lesson plan and what you would do, different activities you will carry out, and the material you will use. You will have to describe a lesson. Instead of acting it out, you will have to describe it, right? By means of, you will use the PowerPoint as visual support. And we'll share the screen and you will explain the different steps you will follow in your lesson, right? Which is a kind of similar to what you have to do for your final project. The final project, which will be 4 or 5 pages long, just that, and we're also going to give you the different parts. Well, the important thing about the final project is that we want you to work on it, show it to us. You will have to hand in a draft copy in October, more or less. We want to check it, and at the end of the term, you will hand in the final copy, but we have already seen that. So by the time you hand in the final copy, it should be ready. And we've checked it more than once. We want to be with you throughout the process of writing this final project. It's not something that you'll have to do on your own.
Sorry, Valeria.
Yeah. Okay.
That's me. What's the format of this final project? Is it
a paper? It's a paper. I cannot hear you properly.
Sorry?
I cannot hear you properly.
A paper.
Let me tell you, it's a paper with a cover, bibliography, appendix, different sections like theoretical framework, methodology, right? We will let you know, we'll give you the different parts, how long each part should be. Can you hear me?
I think she's having a lot of trouble with
and me too.
And you a little bit, yeah.
But well, the idea is that for this final project, you won't be alone. We will be with you. We will go with you through the different steps in the writing of this final project. That's the important thing. And what is it that you'll have to do? We're going to give each of you some material, a course book, a unit from a course book. It could be for children, for teenagers, for adults. It would be a surprise material, because when you graduate, you will go out into the world and you will have to be ready to teach any kind of group, any age level, any language level. So you will get the material and you will have to analyze one of the units from a course book. I don't know if you're listening to me because you're all frozen.
Yes, we are. We are listening to you.
Yeah. Okay. And you will have to analyze a unit, I was saying, and find a pronunciation point in that unit to teach. And what you will have to do is design a set of activities, 1 or 2 activities to teach that. For example, you may see that in that course book, there are many words with long E and short E. And so that will be your teaching point, and you will prepare some activities. The book has some pronunciation activities. Some books have pronunciation activities, some other books don't. Some books do have pronunciation sections, but they are not very good, and you may want to change that. So that will be up to you, but we'll talk about that in the meantime, right? Don't worry about it yet.
Vale, we've got less than 5 minutes left, so maybe before we pass on to the next slide.
I don't remember which was that.
I can show you. Well, I don't know. The terms and conditions, maybe we can
discuss this very quickly.
Yeah.
Attendance, of course. If we meet, which we are not going to meet every single Friday, but if we do, please be here. Be here. And of course, in order to pass this workshop, you will have to obtain a passing mark in both assignments and a passing mark in the final project. And the final mark will be an average of all that, right? The final project and your work throughout the course, right? And I think that's all. Oh, we can show them the next slide, Luke, before we end this session. We have 2 units. It's a workshop, it's just 1 term, so it's going to be quite short, but there's a lot inside those 2 units. The first one is about styles of speech. You will see that in the same way as you have different registers when you are writing, or different styles when you write, you go from casual, informal to more formal language. There are also variations in the way in which you speak in a formal setting or in an informal setting. So we're going to work on the differences in the way in which you speak when you are in a formal setting or in an informal setting. And then we're going to concentrate on teacher talk and the way in which teachers talk to their students. And that's why the end of this unit is the recording of the tutorial. You will be teaching the rest something. So you will have to pay attention to the way in which you speak in order to teach something, right? That's why it's a tutorial, your assignment for the end of this unit. And the second unit, and that's, I think, the most important one, is teaching pronunciation. So far, you've been learning pronunciation. Now you have to focus your attention on how you're going to teach pronunciation to your students. Now you are the teachers. And why teaching pronunciation? What to teach? Will you teach everything to all your, to first graders? Would you teach voiced and voiceless consonants, or I don't know, you will have to decide what to teach and how to teach it, how to teach that pronunciation point that you decided to teach, right? And we'll discuss that in a minute, or at least an introduction to this, right? So meeting now again, and I promise it's not going to be like this every Friday. I think this first meeting should be shall we end and start again?
Yes. So
Okay.
let's meet again.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about teaching pronunciation. Now you'll have to, let's pass on to the following slide. We're all here, right?
I think there might be some people who haven't joined yet.
We were 15 before.
Okay, so then that should, we are 14 now.
Sorry, that
I
was my
think
daughter.
Belen is in another subject now.
Sorry?
I think Belen is in another subject now. That's why she's not here.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Lou, let's move on to the following slide. Okay, so we said one of the main things we're going to discuss in this workshop is teaching pronunciation. You have to see yourself now as teachers, right? Not students, teachers. And why? Why would you teach pronunciation? Why do you think it's important to teach pronunciation? Is it important? Do you think it's important to teach pronunciation to your students? Now, place yourself in the shoes of a teacher. Or those of you who have had an experience teaching now, do you spend time in the classroom? Or think about your past teachers, I mean, at school or at institutes. Did you work with pronunciation? Or you as teachers, have you worked with pronunciation with your students? Think about one lesson, an hour. How long do you spend, or in a week, how much time do you spend working on pronunciation with students? Very little, most probably.
In my case, I work with adults, and we use the book Speak Out, and that book includes some topics related to pronunciation, such as how to be polite and long or short vowels.
Okay.
So I would say that often I take some minutes to talk about that.
Right, but many times you work at a school or an institute and you don't have a choice you cannot choose the course book. You're just given a course book and you have to work with that. And maybe in that course book, there are some pronunciation activities, maybe there are not. And usually, from all the books I've seen, the amount of exercises you get in a book in connection with pronunciation are not too many. Most of the time you focus on speaking, listening, grammar, vocabulary, right? And pronunciation, if there's time, then you can do some activities on pronunciation. But you will see, and I'm going to leave an article for you to read later, why it is important to work on pronunciation. It would sound kind of strange or shocking if you want, but pronunciation has an effect or impacts the 4 skills. It is easy to see in what way bad pronunciation, poor pronunciation affects speaking, if you want, because if your pronunciation is poor, you will have problems communicating your message, right? You won't be able to make yourself understood by the listener if your pronunciation is poor. I have an example for that. I don't know if we will be able to see the clip, but just for you to relax, have fun. The one for speaking, the iRabbit, Lou?
Yep. Coming up.
Please say hello to start.
Hello.
I didn't understand your response.
Allô.
Please say hello to start.
Hello.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't understand you. Could you please repeat your response?
Hello.
I'm still waiting for your response. Please say hello to start.
Hello. Hello. Allô. Hello. Hola.
Calling iRabbit International Help Desk for assistance.
Hello, sir. Thank you for purchasing the iRabbit, your own personal digital animal. Raj at your service, sir. Before I can help you out, could you please spell your name for me, sir?
T. H. I. E.
Is that an O, sir?
Yes. E. R. One more R. Y.
That is not a letter, sir.
It's the letter Y.
Can I just call you Greg, sir?
I'm Thierry. Thierry.
Bien sûr, monsieur. How can I help you today, Mr. Greg?
I tried to start my iRabbit, it doesn't work. I'm very tired and hungry.
Sir, if you're hungry, I can call you back after lunch.
No, wait! I shake the rabbit, it doesn't function.
Sir, please do not shake your iRabbit. Press the tail to start.
I tried, it never works. I ate the rabbit.
Sir, your 1-year limited guarantee doesn't cover chewing or biting the device.
No, I hate the rabbit.
Heating can cause fire in your house, sir.
No, I eat the rabbit.
I understand that you are a non-vegetarian, Mr. Greg, but I would personally advise you to not eat the equipment, sir.
Can I talk to your chef, please?
I'm calling from iRabbit International Help Desk. It's not a restaurant, sir.
No restaurant. I would like to talk to your chief.
We are based in a developed country here. We don't have any chiefs or tribes now.
But I paid a lot of money. It is not cheap.
Exactly, sir. It's a rabbit, not a sheep.
I mean, it is not cheap.
It's a rabbit, not a ship.
It's not cheap.
It does have an electronic chip inside.
Please, focus on my problem.
Don't quite understand you, sir.
Please focus.
I beg your pardon?
Please focus on the rabbit.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't accept that kind of language. Thank you for purchasing the iRabbit, your personal digital animal.
Hello.
Welcome, Greg.
The name is Thierry.
Nice to meet you, Thierry. What can I do for you, Thierry?
All right. It's a really nice example on how poor pronunciation affects communication, right? You cannot make yourself understood if your pronunciation is poor.
That will
Now,
be me when I finally talk with a native speaker of English. That is going to be me.
probably. Now this is just a fun example on how poor pronunciation affects speaking. Now let's try to think about a classroom and a group of students, and one of the students having problems with pronunciation, and in what ways that affects the performance in class. Because I think of myself, I hate Portuguese. I'm not feel comfortable speaking Portuguese. So what I do is I don't speak. I don't speak. And you get that in your classrooms. You get students who are ashamed of because of speaking because they don't know how to pronounce the language properly. And it's not that they don't know the grammar or the vocabulary, but they don't know how to pronounce things properly. They don't feel confident enough, so they keep quiet. And so you have that student in the classroom who's quiet all the time. And what do you think? Well, this student has problems with speaking, but it's based on the lack of confidence because of the poor pronunciation, right? There are students who avoid pronouncing. There are other students who will speak no matter what and will say whatever. I had students saying, teacher, open the port. Things like that. But you will get other students who will remain quiet. So you have to think about the reasons why that student is quiet. There are other students who will avoid using certain grammatical structures because they are difficult to pronounce, or certain vocabulary items because they are difficult to pronounce. And so they will start to try to mime or to use the mother tongue or to use synonyms. And it's not because they don't know the word, it's because they don't know how to pronounce it. Right? So it's important to work on pronunciation because of this, especially with beginners. They need to do this work on sounds in order to feel confident enough to say things, right? Let me see. So,
can I ask
yeah, tell me.
Is it important to have a whole lesson for pronunciation?
No, it's not necessary. But one important thing is that the pronunciation lessons should be planned in the same way as you plan a lesson to teach a grammatical point or to teach vocabulary, right? You usually prepare lesson plans to work on, I don't know, the simple present or whatever grammatical point. In the same way, you can plan a pronunciation lesson. The idea is not to, or what we want you to do by the end of the workshop is to leave with this idea that pronunciation is not something that you just, because a student said something in the wrong way, you just correct the student and you say it's like this, and you ask the student to repeat and to say it correctly. No, there's more that you can do about pronunciation than teaching on the spur of the moment. You can do some planning. That's what you have to do for your final project, right? A plan to teach pronunciation. To prepare specific activities to work on something that your students need. And for that, you will have to evaluate your group of students, their language level, the problems they are having, and then you prepare a lesson plan to work on a specific aspect, right? So that they can improve on their speaking skills. But not only speaking, listening is also affected by poor pronunciation. And we have another example for that. To see how poor pronunciation affects listening.
Das hier ist mein Sektor. Das hier ist das wichtigste Gerät des Küstenwächters. Das Gerät und das Gerät. Überlebensradar.
Mayday, Mayday. Hello, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you... Over. We are sinking. We are sinking.
Hello? This is the German Coast Guard.
We are sinking. We're sinking.
What are you thinking about?
So probably you knew this one, right? you watched it already. So this person, right? He said, "What are you thinking about?" So he thinks that the correct pronunciation of the verb to think is think. So he thinks that's the pronunciation. So he hears this person saying, we are thinking, what are you thinking about? Right? So his poor pronunciation affected his listening comprehension and, of course, communication. It hinders communication, right? So again, it's an example, a funny example. But let's think what happens in the classroom when a student cannot understand what he or she is listening to. Imagine a listening comprehension exercise and you play a recording, right? And you ask students to listen and then answer some questions. What happens if the student does not recognize the words or misinterprets the pronunciation of one word? What happens to that student? Most probably, when you have a student who cannot understand a word, a couple of words, or a word that is repeated many times in a recording, that student will switch off. Even just because they cannot understand one single word, and it's like they stop listening there. They don't listen anymore. And most probably you say, well, this student has problems with listening comprehension, and you provide more instances of listening comprehension exercises. But the problem actually is based on pronunciation, not on listening. Right? Behind these difficulties in understanding a recorded message is poor pronunciation. Right? Probably if you give the script to the student, that student may be able to understand the whole thing and then solve all the exercises. But if they have to listen to the words spoken and they don't know how they are pronounced, or they have a problem like this man who thinks that the verb to think is pronounced think, you will have many problems when working with listening comprehension, right? So students switch off when they don't understand. Now, so it actually is kind of easy to see how poor pronunciation affects listening and speaking, right? But what about reading and writing? In what ways poor pronunciation affect reading and writing? Let's see writing first. I have some examples here. These are not videos, these are pictures. Look at this. Have you ever been to Starbucks? You know that they write your name on the cups, right? Look at this. The name was Anne Louise, but it was written Anouise. The name Will was spelled with double E, an H, wheel, right? So you have problems transferring with this relationship between spelling and pronunciation. Look at the other one. Employees must wash hands before leaving or before leaving, right? Why do you think this person wrote wheel instead of will? This person cannot distinguish between the short E and the long E. It's the same. And the same example with living or leaving. There are many, many examples like this in related to tourism. Many mistakes, but let's again think of the classroom and what happens in the classroom with poor pronunciation and writing. I have many examples from my students, from second graders. For example, they spelled, I will have to use a chat for this so that you see what I mean. We were working with parts of the house, right? And many students spelled the word living room like this. Wait, sec, like this. Living room. Room, many times room. But because they pronounce it like that, they don't say room. They say room, living room, living room. Connected with the clusters that we have in Spanish, with the sounds that we have. Another one, instead of bedroom, which is kind of hard to say, they spelled it like this. Bedroom, bedroom. And if you pay attention, they are pronouncing like that. Fortunately, there were other examples of that go the other way about, that show that they have a good pronunciation, not a bad pronunciation. So I saw that my students were spelling room like that, with n at the end. So I spent some time saying bedroom, with the lips, indicating that it was a m, right? And so once they start pronouncing the words correctly, they start spelling the words correctly. And I remember one student said, spelled the word apple on the board like this. Apple. And it's wrong, right? Because it's not the correct spelling of apple. But I was really pleased because this spelling shows that student could pronounce the dark L. And I was saying apple, all with the dark L and not with the clear L, apple, apple, or apple. Some students look at the spelling and just speak in Spanish, right? Bedroom, bathroom, living room, I remember those examples. But I'm sure that if you've been teaching, you have many examples like these of mistakes produced, made in writing, which are connected with good pronunciation or bad pronunciation, right? So in this sense, poor pronunciation has an impact on writing. It impacts speaking, it impacts listening, it impacts writing, and it also impacts reading. And for that, I have no example, but I have this article I'm going to leave for you to read, in which the author, the name doesn't come to my mind right now. Lou, can you help me? Rob Walker.
Robin
Walker. Well, Walker is the surname. That's the author of the article. And he talks about the impact of pronunciation on the 4 skills. It's a very short article, easy reading, really nice to read. He's English, but he taught English in Spain for many years. So he talks a lot about Spanish speakers, but Spanish from Spain. And he says that there are some studies which show that when you are reading a text and you get to a word which you don't know how to pronounce, you will not remember that word. It's like when you're reading a text, in your minds, inside your head, you are saying those words aloud. And when you get to a point in which you find a word and you have no idea how to pronounce it, you will see it. Maybe you will understand the meaning because of the context. All right, you can do that, but it won't be stored in your long-term memory. You will forget that word if you don't know how to pronounce it. And so there are studies on this. So in that sense, poor pronunciation also affects reading. So you see why it is important to teach pronunciation. It has an impact on the 4 skills in different ways, but it covers the 4 skills. You will need to work on pronunciation to make sure that your work on listening, speaking, reading, and writing are on the right track. Right? So we've talked about the importance of teaching pronunciation, why it is important to teach pronunciation, and now what to teach. What are you going to teach? First, it will depend on, of course, your group of students. You will have to decide on your goal. Which is your goal? Do you want your students to sound like a native speaker? Will that be your aim? It may be. Or do you want your students just to be intelligible? Intelligible for whom? Intelligible for native speakers of the language? Or intelligible for other learners of the English language, which maybe with whom you share the same mother tongue, or speakers of English as a foreign language, but with a different language background. It's not the same to aim at being intelligible for a native speaker or being intelligible for another learner of English as a foreign language, right? And when we say, we may say that the goal is to speak like a native speaker. Okay, a native speaker. Do all native speakers speak in the same way? Do we have only one native speaker accent?
I think the first years of our course of study, we think that, or we thought that, but then I remember in ILI, you, Valeria, you told us that accents are, like, no country is exempt from accents. So if we have in Argentina, we have different accents. So in Great Britain, in the USA, in every place, there are going to be different accents.
That's right. It's not just a question of saying American or British. It's not just that. Because when we say American and British, we're talking about standard American and standard British accent. But within each of those countries, or you have many different variants, and we have an example for that. I think it's where it says native speaker. Look at different accents. Listen to different accents.
Is that you may grow rice and you may grow wheat, but you have to decide what you can grow better. Is that you may grow rice and you may grow wheat, but you have to decide what you can grow better.
We're standing here down in the Borders. We're just outside Melrose, which is a famous town. We're standing here down in the Borders. We're just outside Melrose, which is a famous town.
I want back everything. Papa will live here on Sunlight Street from your 2 months old. Just one out of my mother. I want back everything. Papa will live here on Sunlight Street from your 2 months old. Just one out of my mother.
Oh God, it's desperate. God, the mountains is brave and close now, right enough. Oh God, it's wild time of the snow, all right. Oh God, it's desperate. God, the mountains is brave and close now, right enough. Oh God, it's wild time of the snow, all right.
Around here, I guess it'd be what more like you told hillbilly style or something. I guess I don't know. This is mountain talk. Around here, I guess it'd be what more like you told hillbilly style or something. I guess I don't know. This is mountain talk.
And he just decided he'd scoot up the road, and I just said, nah, it's not going on like that, mate. So I jumped in my car. And he just decided he'd scoot up the road, and I just said, nah, it's not going on like that, mate. So I jumped in my car.
Now I can't speak Spanish or anything, so I was just trying. I learned agua, that means water. Now I can't speak Spanish or anything, so I was just trying. I learned agua, that means water.
Okay. All right. Could you understand them all? Those are all in native speaker accents. I found the Irish one really difficult to get, right? And we have another clip. I think we will be able to listen to this now. It's a couple of YouTubers doing accents, doing different British accents. Just for you to see the variety we have, right?
Hello, I'm Joel.
And I'm Leah, and we're going to be speaking to you in the different accents today.
The first accent that we're going to be teaching you today is the Birmingham accent.
What should we talk about? Give us something to say.
A topic?
Let's talk about going to McDonald's.
McDonald's.
McDonald's is a really nice place to eat.
They do chicken, they do beef, they do pork.
I like a cheeseburger.
Oh, McChicken sandwich I like. McDonald's workers are really fun. They're just like, they know what you want. You go in and you say, I want a McChicken sandwich, and they say, all right then. Oh, are you kidding me?
I don't think there is a lot of people that actually understand what it is I'm doing with my life.
No.
No.
Not many people do. YouTubers are so misunderstood.
And I don't think they think I'm talented.
But you are.
I know I am. I just feel like I've got something to prove.
Well, you know what? All you big YouTubers out there, we're talented, more so than you. So, just saying.
Yeah, what he said. I like
big butts.
I like big butts, and I cannot lie.
You other brothers can't deny.
When I go to, I don't know the lyrics, but I'm going to pretend I do. The thing is with these stripes is that I just don't know if they suit you.
Really? I think it's because I'm nice and like, I'm a good boy.
And this
he's
suggests
like, bad boy, rebel.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Gonna be good.
Hi, my name's Kelly. I was
Kelly.
born in Leeds.
I was born in Leeds.
I was born in Leeds.
Hi, my name's Kelly. I was born in Leeds.
Right, so Leeds is a bit like this. It's a bit like Manchester, but a bit more harsh.
A lot of sass.
A lot of sass. Just think sass, sass, sass. Think Lewis Parker, and then you've got it.
I just think like I'm a really good dancer. I think I could go to the top. Like all the ballet schools would love me.
Yeah, you could go far.
Far.
Really far.
Really far.
Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Chicken.
Chicken and a can of Coke. Cockney.
All right, governor.
All right, Cockney's sort of dying out now, ain't it?
Yeah,
It's,
dying out. It's mainly in like the older generation in London.
Yeah. Because London's now moving towards
Multicultural London English, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like a bit
like,
street, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. Whereas Cockney is a bit more like, hello.
Hello, governor.
Hello, pie and chips.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I went into Essex then.
Yeah.
That's the next one.
Essex.
Hello, Essex.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, my name's Joel. I like fake tan. I like looking ream. That sort of thing.
And I'm Leah. I like shopping. I like all the clothes on the row, and I want to buy everything.
Say happy.
Newcastle.
Can't do Newcastle.
I'll try a bit.
Go on.
Okay. So shall I just say that? So I just hate staying in my flat because every now and again I just get knocking at my door, and the bloke downstairs let them in. If I ignore the buzzer, get them praying on my door, trying to get in, looking for money. I just hate it. I hate living in Newcastle. It's not bad.
Good. That's really good.
I
can't do
hate it.
Newcastle. All I can say is, Cheryl Cole, you're right up my street.
I hate you.
All right. Received pronunciation is sort of just our natural accent anyway, but a bit more clipped. So
It doesn't matter how slow you go, as long as you don't stop.
exactly, just keep going. You'll get there.
I suppose I could have had a better shot at the leads, but I don't know, man.
What
Maybe
other
we can
accents, but not in
stop
UK?
here, because it's quite long, and then I can share the video with you so you can listen to it. They were talking about RP, and you know that RP, that actually the accent we've been studying, it's spoken only by 3% of people, and people in position of power. And so it's not a useful goal because it's a minority accent. But all the same, it's the one that's been studied a lot. And most probably, if you speak RP, you will be understood by everyone. But be careful, you won't understand all people because they speak in all these different ways. But the same thing happens with all languages, right? You can give it a try. You can speak like someone from San Juan, from someone like Misiones, someone from Córdoba, someone from Buenos Aires. They all speak in different ways, right? So when you say that your goal is standard native speaker accent, you have to be careful because there are many, right, many different accents. Being intelligible or having an accent. I don't know, we have just 2 minutes, so maybe I have just a couple more things to say and that will be it, but 2 minutes is not enough. So shall we? Oh, no, we've finished. It's 10 o'clock already. Just very quickly, intelligibility versus accent. The point is that it doesn't matter if you have an accent, as long as you make yourself understood. But in order to be understood, you'll have to see which aspect of pronunciation you have to pay attention to, depending on who your listener is. And so that's when it comes English as an international language, or English as a lingua franca. But we'll have to talk more about this. Okay, but maybe next time we can talk about this. The point is that you have more chances of speaking with a non-native speaker using English than speaking to a native speaker of English, because there are more around the globe, there are more non-native speakers of English than native speakers of English. So that's an important thing to have in mind. And given this globalized view of speakers, it's like the intelligibility we were aiming at has to take that into account. You have to take into account that you will have to be intelligible, not just for a native speaker of the language. You will have to be intelligible
5
for a
seconds.
different group of students, right? A different group of listeners. An international audience you will have. And that will change your priorities. Then, as regards how to teach pronunciation, we have all those options, right? You have many different options to teach pronunciation, and we're going to discuss them all in detail in Unit 2. You can use cartoons, quizzes, minimal pairs, communicative activities, listening and repeating chants, songs, videos, whatever, right? how is really big. So we're going to discuss this, the 3, why, what, and how, a lot in Unit 2. So this was just an introduction, and I think that was all for today.